Hello, dreamers, doers, and achievers. I'm Tyson, your host, and I invite you to join me on a new adventure called Sharing Success with Tyson. Each week, we dive into the most inspiring stories of individuals who have transformed their dreams into reality. From the entrepreneurs who started from nothing to the artists who see the world differently, we share the journeys that inspire and motivate. Whether you're looking to ignite a long held passion or find encouragement in your daily grind, Sharing Success with Tyson is your weekly dose of motivation. Together, let's redefine success and achieve the extraordinary. Hi, guys, and welcome to Sharing Success, episode 6. I can't believe we are 6 episodes in. This is so great. I think you guys are really going to love this episode. Today, we have April Hiatt on. April is the owner of Impactful Online Solutions, a strategic website design agency, and she is the creator of the Wise Women Mastermind groups. Her passion is helping her business grow, empowering business owners to run their businesses their way, and giving them more time to do what they love. She loves connecting women business owners and creating a space where they can collaborate and help each other. When she's not designing websites or facilitating masterminds, you can find her outside hiking with her husband on the weekends. Together, they have a fun tradition called Hiking with the Hyatts, where they explore new hikes and then share them on Facebook. April is a phenomenal guest. I am very privileged to have her on the podcast. I met April because I joined her Facebook group. It's a Wise Women Mastermind group. It's for women entrepreneurs just to connect and talk to each other and bounce ideas and questions off of each other. And as you'll hear in this episode, just in 6 months, she has cultivated such a powerful community. So, I invite you guys to listen to this episode, take it on that you can, and I appreciate you guys for listening. Thanks. All righty. I am so glad that you're here with us, April. Yeah, thank you for hopping on with me.
You bet. I'm excited.
Yeah, we're gonna hop right into it because I think you are fantastic, and I want to learn as much about you as I can in this time.
All right. Sounds good.
Okay, cool. Um, all right. So, how about you start by telling me and listeners about your background and kind of the journey that leads you to exactly where you are today?
Okay. Wow. How much time do we have? No, I'm just
I know.
kidding.
Whatever you feel is relevant.
So, no, it's great. So, oh gosh, my background. So, for the last 8 years, I've been running a website design agency, which I got started when my son needed some mental health help and I couldn't find any online. And everywhere I looked, I just couldn't find anything. So, I had a friend recommend a place to me and I looked him up online and they looked really bad. And I said, yeah, no, that's just not it. And it wasn't just that they looked bad, like they sounded bad, they looked unprofessional, whatever. And anyway, I didn't call, but later the friend followed up and said, April, did you call? And I said, no, I didn't. And she said, I really think you need to call them. I'm telling you, this is the place for your son. And I said, okay, I'm doing it only because you said so. And I did, and they actually were absolutely perfect for my son, it was exactly what he needed, and they were really
Yeah.
good. And anyway, he was with them for quite a while, and I got to know the owner and several of the therapists there and different stuff. And one day I just casually mentioned to the owner, I said, I almost didn't call you because your website was so bad and it just didn't talk
Hmm.
to me. And he goes, really? I had no idea. And I said, yeah, really, it's bad. You are repelling people. It's so bad. And he goes, okay, well, how would you like to build one for us? And I said, I've never done that before, right? He goes, I know, but you're exactly the person that we're trying to reach. And so it would be great if you could go learn how to do this and just do it. And so I thought, what, I can do that. I did have some background in technology and stuff. And so I thought, what, I'll do it. So I did. I learned
Hmm.
everything I possibly could. And lucky for me, he paid me to go through and learn all the stuff and whatever. So I did that. And I just, I built that. And then I built more. And then he referred me to people and they referred me to people. And then my business just grew. And then after about 8 years, at the beginning of this year, I've been doing it for 8 years, have been loving
Mhm.
it. But I just got to the point that I kind of got tired of doing just me. Like when you build a website, it's just you and your computer and you talk to people and then it's, it's just you. And I was like, man,
Yeah.
I am a people person and I need people. And my kids had all grown up and they moved out of the house and my husband travels and so he's gone. And so it's
Mm.
really just me by myself at home. I know that sounds amazing for a lot of people and they're all thinking, yes, pick me. I want to have that. But after a while, it gets kind of lonely. And so
Yeah.
that's when I thought, I need some other stuff. I need other women in my life, and I have some really good ideas, and I want to do other stuff. And wouldn't it be really cool if I started a mastermind group with other women business owners? And so that's how Wise Women was born. And so I put it out there in January, and it took off. And I thought, this is amazing. I love it. So that's where I'm at today, where I'm at. I'm actually doing both, but I'm hoping to continue to grow Wise Women, and we'll see what happens with the website stuff in the meantime. So here I am.
Wow. That's amazing. The interesting thing is, so I found you because I joined your Facebook group, The Wise Women. I will link that in the description for all listeners. But I never knew that that was established at the beginning of this year. So
Yeah, we
for me
just
coming
started.
in, yeah, it's like a very established it seems like a very established community. There's so many powerful people in there,
Oh,
lots of
yeah.
really good advice, and so that's that's amazing. Let's talk about I know that I haven't been able to go to one, but your next one's on my calendar. Let's talk about your mastermind events that you do. Is that what they are?
Yes. Yeah. So Wise Women is first and foremost a mastermind group. And that's where women get together and they just talk. Like sometimes we have
Mhm.
ideas and we want to brainstorm but we need feedback. If you're like me, you're a verbal processor and you just need people to talk to that aren't your children or that aren't your friends,
Yeah.
or even for me that aren't my husband. I love him, but sometimes I just need somebody else. And
Yeah.
so I opened first the online mastermind groups. I thought I'll just try doing these and we'll see if anybody else needs this. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. And I found out that a lot of women need it and want it. And so I did that and I had like 4 groups right off the bat. And then and then in February, I thought, wouldn't it be really fun to do an in-person conference? Let's just see if anybody wants to actually get together and do stuff in person. And so in April, because my name's April. I had to do it in
You
April.
had to. You had
I
to.
had to. Yes, I just had to do it in April. So I put on the in-person conference and it was so, so fun. And the women were amazing. And I was blown away at the caliber of women that came and also they needed help, but they were so willing to help other people too. And the power of it, again, like there was workshops and stuff you could learn from other people, but the real power was the mastermind groups. It was sitting at a table with 5 other women and saying, hey, I need help with this, or I have an idea with this. Can anybody help me? And then getting that feedback from the other women was so amazing. I mean, it was more powerful than I even imagined it would be in a good way. I loved it.
Yeah.
It was great.
Well, that's the thing is you don't know what you don't know until you're talking to other people. Like perspective is everything. And for somebody
Right.
on the outside looking in, for them to give you value, it's amazing.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. And our next one, I'll just put a little plug in there, Tyson, because you said you were coming, but I was like, our next one is in September. So in case anybody's interested, it'll be in September.
Perfect. Perfect. I think there was a lag, but I heard exactly what you said. It's in September. Um, yeah, tell listeners when it is in September. I'll put the link for the event in the description too.
Oh, yeah, awesome. So it's Friday, September 20th, and it's going to be in the South Jordan area. So it's kind of central, whether you live north or south, but it's not just for people in Utah. There's people from Idaho that are coming down. There's a lady so like the Facebook group and everything, it's not just Utah based. It's
Yeah.
for any woman business owner. And a lot of women are online based. It doesn't really matter where they live. So we've got people from Texas. One of our one of the speakers that's coming out, she's amazing. She's coming from Florida. She's flying in, and so it's going to be really fun. One of the things that I love to do is get different types of speakers also, so that because you can learn different things from different people. So I like to get all kinds of different workshops going. So not, I mean, we'll have some on business strategy, but also on dressing for success and looking your best, and even like organizing your office for the best flow and just stuff
Yeah.
like that. So it's really fun. And then of course the masterminds are the best part,
Yeah.
and meeting people, and it's fun.
I love that. I think there's so much value, especially like when you're excited for an event and you go and to have like very different points of view. Because there's a lot of conferences and even some masterminds that I've been to where a lot of the speakers are great, but they're talking about the same thing. And
Yeah,
so you feel that there's a lot of repetitiveness. That's still value, but it is repetitive value. And
right.
so I think that's so great that you're having different people touch on different things. And yeah, that just seems like it would be such a unique perspective. I love it.
Yeah. One of the other things that's really fun that I firmly believe in, I really like watching women help each other grow and promoting each other also, and being in a place that you can really get to know the other person. And that's one of the reasons I do the in-person events, in all honesty, is because meeting somebody online is awesome. I love it. I grew my whole website business just online. But meeting people in person is so different, and it's so much better. There's just a more, I don't want to say genuine, but just like a stronger connection with the person when you
Yeah.
meet them face to face. There's just something about that. And so I tell people, go to as many in-person events as you possibly can, and online too, but also go to
Mhm.
the in-person ones, because it just makes a huge difference.
No, I could not agree more. That is something that I have definitely realized lately. I made a goal for myself this year to start going to more networking events and just meeting new people. And there's something that happens when you're forced to be in uncomfortable situations and you're forced to kind of pitch yourself and really practice listening to other people and asking yourself, what value can I provide these people?
Right.
When you have a screen that you're behind, you
Yeah.
have some time to come up with replies, and but when you're thinking on your feet and you're networking with other people, it's like this whole different experience. I completely agree. It you're right. It's not more genuine, but it's a whole different ball game. You get that deeper level of connection. And some of the relationships that I've gained since the beginning of this year have been invaluable.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah, yeah, definitely different than the online relationships because I still cherish those. But there's something about getting to see somebody face to
Mhm.
face, really recognizing what they bring to the table, and then seeing their perspective on things too. Because somebody that you wouldn't think, they're not in my industry, maybe they don't know. Those are the people that can give you the most value, people that you
Yes.
would never expect can really change your perspective, and change the whole way you do business.
Oh, yeah. And and what you said is getting the perspective from people not in your industry. That is so powerful. One of the things I watched at the last conference that I loved seeing is that there was a table of, like, say, 5 women, and they were all in different industries. And one of the tables I sat in on, there was a lady who, I think she's like a health and wellness coach or something. And she was a little bit into the woo. And so she was talking about her business and what it was. And there was another lady at the table who owns a flooring company, and she had never heard of any of this stuff before that the lady was talking about. I mean, never heard it before. She'd never even heard the word woo, like literally had never heard any of this stuff before. But it was really cool to watch her, because she could ask questions and say stuff like, I don't know what you're talking about. Tell me what will means, or tell me what mindset means, or tell me you're saying manifest, but I don't know what that means. Tell me what all of these things are. And the person that was asking the question initially just had no idea that people didn't understand what she was saying, because
Yes.
in her mind she knew all the words, she knew what she was saying. So there's a lot of
Mhm.
power in that, and you get that in in-person networking a lot.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It's one of those exposure by fire situations is you're learning really quickly about other people, but I leave a lot of the in-person events that I go to, like, with a lot of new things on my radar. Because, like you said, we're talking to
Mhm.
different people, we're learning about different aspects of, life, really, and I'm like, "Oh, I didn't even know that was a thing." Somebody that I met at one a few months ago, she said that her boyfriend was a private chef, and he just kind of stumbled into it, and it got me thinking, and I was like, "Oh, that's a cool career, like, how does somebody even get into that?" So it opens your mind to, like, all these possibilities. It's really cool.
Right. Oh, yeah, yeah, I totally agree,
Mhm.
for sure.
Do you think that when people are attending these in-person events and they're meeting different people, do you think that kind of gives them an advantage when they're going to interact with their client base because they're now familiar with different types of people?
Yeah, absolutely, and it helps them understand that sometimes they're speaking in a way that other people don't get. So it helps them just like break stuff down, make it a little more simple to understand, use words that are more common for people. And just sometimes, like, we know too much. And so it's hard to explain things because we're too smart about it. We know too much about
Yeah.
it. And sometimes we really just have to dumb it down. And this helps us dumb things down a little bit. And then
Mhm.
just getting to know people, like, it's not always about making a sale. It really
Yeah.
is learning to genuinely meet people and connect with people and find out who they are and what makes them tick. And, the person you're talking to, I mean, I don't like to sell. I don't like to feel like I'm selling people. I actually don't really talk about my business a whole lot unless somebody
Mhm.
asks me about it. And then I'll get really excited and talk about it, but I don't walk around with, a big sign on my head. That's what I do. I really don't talk about it that much. But as I get to know people and who they are and what they do, it naturally comes out in conversations.
Mhm.
And that's when the magic happens, is when you're really genuine about helping people and not selling people. And I think that helps.
Yeah, absolutely. There's something about, um, approaching really life and the way you do business with more of the mindset of I'm genuinely doing this and I want to meet new people because I want to be of service and I want to be of value. I want to inspire people. I want to when you're in it for the greater good, I think that the sales just kind of fall into place because people can sense that you're a genuine person, and then they can decide if they want to work with you or not. But I think
Right.
that's a really good point.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And as people get to know you, they might not need your services, but if they know you and then they have a friend who does or a family member who does, and they're like, oh, wait, I know somebody. Because we all like to feel like we know somebody or we
Yep.
want to help other people. So even if we can't do something, there's just something innate in most of us, especially women, that we like to say, oh, I know somebody. Hey, I know somebody that can help you. Let me give you their referral. And there's just something powerful in that.
Yes.
And it, I don't know, makes me feel good. I love to meet people just so I can say, wait, I got a guy or a woman or whatever. And I know somebody
Yep.
that can help you. And anyway, I love that.
I love that. Yeah, it's a really good point. I wanna uh talk about your I know that there's a lot of things that I've seen where for example, your mastermind group, it's your passion really comes through and with your website design, it was something your business it one thing led to another and then you started a business and you ran with it.
Right.
I think
Yeah.
that type of passion really cultivates that's what success comes from. So, I want to talk about what success means to you personally and just kind of if that's evolved over time.
Yeah. And you know what? It has evolved over time. So for me today, success to me is watching other people succeed and feeling like I got to be a part of that. In some way, I got to be a part of that. But I'll be honest, it didn't always start that way. Like in the beginning, I started my business because we needed the money and I had a
Yeah.
skill. I mean, that's the bottom line. My family needed the money. We had kids at home and I had a skill and I thought I can charge for
Hmm.
this and and bring extra money into our household. I mean, total
Yeah.
honesty, that's how it
Hmm.
started. And so, but now it's just gone so far beyond that yes, I want to charge for my services. I want to make money. But my joy does not come from that. It really
Yeah.
doesn't. It really comes from meeting other people, but then watching them succeed. I can be out front, I can talk, I can be on a podcast, I can do all the things, but I am also very comfortable and in the background and watching other people succeed, kind of like a mom does with her kids. When you see your kids get an award and
Yes.
you're all proud and you're so excited and you're like, whatever. I'm that person for all the other women that I meet. I love to just be in the back and be like, oh yes, I'm so excited for them. Go and whatever. And but honestly, I probably didn't start that way. I was too needy. I needed the money too much. And once I got past that part of it, then it was easier to come into really who I am and what brings me joy and how I feel success. And then, interestingly enough, when I let go of the money part of it, that's when it actually exploded. Right? Like, isn't that funny
Yes.
how that works? But yeah.
Yeah, that's so interesting. There's so many things I want to touch on there. One of the big things is let's I have noticed when there's like a resistance around um money, if there's like that scarcity mindset, it's so much harder to come by. And when
Right.
I'm able to release that and just like trust the process, kind of like I was saying before, if I can be a genuine person and have good intentions in what I do in business, I'm going to trust that that's going to work out. Where did you, um, yeah, can you speak a little bit more to what how you figured that out, that releasing that resistance?
That's really hard. I think it evolved over time and it just came with the more confident I became in myself and in my business and what I was doing. And I think that confidence came as I got referrals. So, I started out small and I was, doing everything I could to get the business. But as I got busier and then I stepped back from that a little bit and just let the referrals come to me. So instead of me seeking people out, I just let them come to me more.
Yeah.
Then I was more invested in them as a person. And I mean, not that I wasn't before. It sounds, I don't know how to put it into words, but
No, I get it.
yeah. So as people came to me and then I was able, to work with them and really get to know them and take that time, then I gradually got to the point that I was like, you know what, this is so much more enjoyable when I just, stay here and watch other people succeed. And yeah,
Yeah.
it evolved over time. I won't say I woke up one day and was just here I am, because I didn't. It took me a while.
Well, I think that's great, and I think that's a really good lesson that a lot of people, could take to heart. And another thing that I kind of realized was the fact that you were so passionate about being a cheerleader for other people, that's really hard to come by. I think a lot of people, I do believe that a lot of people have amazing intentions, but I think it's really rare when you find somebody with the mindset that there's room for everybody at the table.
Yeah.
And I want everybody to succeed just because everybody's got the hustle and bustle of their daily lives. They're really focused on, their business and their life. So when you run across somebody who's like, "No, there's room for everybody at the table. I wanna see you succeed. I wanna help you," it's great. Can you maybe touch on where did that, cheerleader in you come from? Did it come from, when you were have you always been that way, or was there an experience in life that impacted that?
I think in general, I've always been that way. I'm the oldest of 7 kids, so I've always had to help people and do the things.
Yeah.
Over the last few years too, as I've gotten to know other website designers and become really good friends with them, the more I did that, the more we all leveled up our game. And if, I became really good friends with a couple of them, and one in particular, we're still great friends. And so if I have a question about something, I have somebody I can call. So instead of her being my competition, she's not, she's my friend. I can say, oh my gosh, I don't know how to do this. And I have a person I can call and ask, how do I do this? Or sometimes, not every client is the right fit. What I do is a little bit different than what she does. And so if somebody comes to me and I just think either, I can't fit them into the schedule that they want, or what they're asking for is not quite in my wheelhouse or whatever, I can say, what, I'm not able to do this, but I know somebody that would be really good for you to work with. And together we build each other up. And that has been really powerful too, is to mastermind and be with people in my same industry also, and all of us build each other up. And that's been great, actually.
I love that. That's such a testament to community and the power of just kind of embracing your connections and kind of just getting out of the competition mindset. Because I think going into business and when you're doing anything on your own, when you venture out, it's almost like you're in survival mode, and you're like,
Right.
oh no, I want to get to the top. I want to do this. I got it. And instead of like doing that, it's important that you can lean on a community and learn while you can, instead of looking at others as competition. So
Yeah.
I think
Well,
that's
it's
great.
interesting if you read online, like how to start a business or how to grow your business or just all the businessy stuff. A lot of it says, study your competition, get to know your competition. Like they're always using the word competition for other
Yes.
people in your industry. And I'm like, no, they're not. Like everybody does things a little bit different. They're not your competition. They might be people you can learn from. They can be mentors. Like if I'm brand new and there's somebody out there who's been doing this for 5 years, I'm going to talk to that person because they can teach me stuff. I can watch them and learn from them. Maybe they want to mentor me, maybe not. I could even hire that person to help me and teach me. And what great opportunities we have out there. And that's how you have to look at it, not competition.
Yes.
Mentors
Yes.
and opportunity.
You're so right. I had a guest on a few weeks ago, Jessica Pickett. She's a tattoo
Oh,
artist and an esthetician. She's great. And she was kind of talking about the same thing, and it opened my mind a little bit. She said, because in her industry, there's a lot of people that look at each other as competition. And
right.
she spoke to the power of really embracing mentorship and your peers, because she said, when you start looking at people as competition, you you lose the idea that every customer is going to have a different experience when they go to everybody. Nobody's going to do things just like you do. So you're going to offer somebody different. It could be different services, or your artwork is different. There's always something that distinguishes you. And so it's not that other people are competition. It's just that you all do things differently, even if you're in the same industry. So there's a lot of power in learning from each other. I thought that was really cool.
Oh, yeah, that is really cool. And
Mhm.
just as people in general, we connect with people differently. I mean, even if you go to the doctor or you go to a therapist or whatever, you're going to talk to 4 or 5 different people, and then you're going to pick the one you connect with the most, that you
Yeah.
feel the most comfortable with. It's human nature. So we can't expect that every person that walks into our door is the perfect fit for us as a client, or anything else. I mean, it's just normal for us to click with some people and to just not click so well with others. That there's nothing good or bad about that. It just is.
Yeah. Yeah, you're so right. I want to I know that's a tough subject, so I want to dive into maybe speaking about your challenges as a business owner, and just really in your life. How do you handle setbacks and failures, either within your business or your personal life? How do you approach that?
Well, probably first, like everybody else, I get sad. I cry.
Same.
I'm a crier, so I do that.
Same.
And
Yes.
and Lately, I've learned to journal, though. I wasn't a journaler before. I would hear people say that, and I'd be like, that's not for me. That doesn't really help me. And then I started doing it. And then I was like, oh, wow, why have I not been doing this for the last 20 years? I've been missing out. But it gets all those feelings out and whatever. And then I mean, I know this sounds cliche. I'm gonna say it, and it sounds cliche. I get it, but I do try to look at something and go, okay, what can I learn from this? And
Yeah.
often and just go, okay, that didn't work. Not doing that again.
Yeah.
And moving forward. And the only way sometimes we can figure out if something is going to work or it isn't going to work is just by trying it. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't. One skill that I learned when my son was actually going through his mental health struggles, I went to they had like some parenting classes and stuff. But one of the things that I learned in that they taught us to help our kids with, and I thought, oh, I need this skill for myself. But it's the whole, okay, if I try this and then walk it through. What's the worst case scenario? Okay, if that were to happen, then what? Okay, if that were to happen, then what? And you just walk through the whole thing in your brain and you go, okay, well, if I try this and it doesn't work, and then this happens and this happens, am I going to die? No, I'm not. I'll survive. I'll be sad, but it'll be okay. And then your brain kind of just lets you say, okay, you know what? We can try this, because at the end of the day, if it didn't work, you're going to be okay. And
Yeah.
that has been really helpful for me.
Wow. That I'm gonna use that on myself too because
It
it,
works.
it yeah, it makes you realize that the worst case scenario is likely not as bad as you had thought it out to be.
Right. Yeah. And the whole, you go through that whole scenario and you think the worst thing, then whatever happens, you're like, well, yeah, that wasn't so bad. Or, oh my gosh, this worked. I didn't even know if it was going to work, but this was amazing. And now your brain can just kind of go, oh yeah, this is going to work. This is going to be amazing, and move
Mhm.
forward. And yeah, that's been really powerful for me.
That's awesome. I'm definitely gonna incorporate that. So you touched a little bit on journaling. Um, could you maybe speak to some other practical tools or techniques that you use to stay motivated and focused?
So recently, I've actually been reading The Gap and the Gain. It's the book that came out before 10x is better than 2x. But
Okay.
one of the skills in that book is to just at the end of the day write down your wins. What are your wins? Whatever they are for the day, write down 3 wins. There's always something that you can find that went well. And then in the morning, I've been doing like my gratitudes. What am I
Mhm.
grateful for today? And that's made a huge difference. And I'll be honest, I have not been doing this for years and years and years. This is
Yeah.
like in the last 3 months, I finally learned. Wow, people have been telling me this forever, and who knew it works? So, but even in the mastermind groups, that's a big piece. What are your wins?
Yeah.
What are you accomplishing? And when we sit down and look every day at our wins, then we just think, oh, there's so much more that we're getting done. Or if we didn't get so, because sometimes at the end of the day, I'm like, oh my gosh, I sat in front of my computer all day long and I got nothing done. I
Yeah.
seriously was here forever and I feel like I got nothing done. But if I really sit down and think, okay, April, what did you do? You know what? I talked to my daughter for an hour, and that's a win because I don't get to talk to her all the time. And you know what? I had like 4 or 5 emails that were, fires I needed to put out, but I got to help 4 clients who really needed my help today. And it wasn't the big project I wanted to get done, but they needed my help, and I helped them. And I got started on the big thing I wanted to do, and that's great. And so when I started focusing on that, it made a huge difference for me. And
Yeah.
writing about it, journaling it, so I can
Mhm.
see it. There's evidence. I got this done.
Yeah, I love that. Honestly, I'm going to start incorporating that. I feel like when you're busy and you're putting out so many fires or even like if you have just like a rest day and you feel like one of those days where you did everything but nothing, I so often, at least for me, I get in that headspace of like I didn't do anything, and so I think there's power in really sitting down and reflecting like no, you did do something, some great things. What did you do? And I like the idea of being able to go back and look at it too.
Mhm. Yeah, I
Wow.
just have a little journal next to my bed, and I don't.
Mhm.
It's not huge. Because I'm not a huge like journal long writer, but I can write down 3 things every day
Yeah.
that went well. I can write down 3 wins. I can find them, even if
Yeah.
it means I got up in the morning when my alarm went off. That's a win. Like whatever it is, I've got 3. I can find them.
I love it. I love it. Um, so another thing that I wanted to ask you is it seems like the busier I get, the tougher of a time I have finding that balance between my personal and my professional life. And so I wanted to see what your thoughts were on that and how you're able to find balance between those things.
You know what? I have really strict boundaries with myself, basically. I don't work nights and I don't work weekends. I just don't. Like it's just a set thing. Like
Mhm.
after certain at time at night, 6 o'clock at night, I'm done. I
Yeah.
shut no matter where I am. I shut down my computer. I'm done. My weekends, I love to hike. Saturday mornings is hiking with the Hyatts. Like
I
no
love
matter
that.
where I am, I'm hiking. That's just what I do. I don't work Saturdays and Sundays. Very few. I mean, I won't say never, 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 because there's always an exception to something, but 99% of the time, I don't do that. My other boundary, though, for me is my family always, always comes first. Always. All of my kids are out of the house, but they still call. And my youngest daughter, she struggles a little bit with different stuff, mental health stuff. So I know when she calls, she's 21. She doesn't call her mom all that often, but when she does call, she needs to talk. And so
Yeah.
will always stop what I'm doing and pick up the phone. Now, if I'm recording a podcast or something and she called this very second, I wouldn't probably do it now, but I would call her right back. But it's one of those that it's really important to me that my kids know that I'm here for them. And they're all adults, but
Yeah.
I'm here. So if they need me and they need something, that they are important. It's important to me that my husband knows that he's a priority for me in my life. And that my good friends, if I haven't talked to somebody in years. So I just set like my own boundaries of like these things are important to me and I make them a priority and everything else can wait. And at the end of the day, there's almost nothing that can't wait. If I don't get something done right this very second, it'll still be there tomorrow. There are no little elves that are going to come in overnight and do it for me. It'll still be there. So everything can wait. It's okay.
Yeah.
Like it really is.
I love that. I love that so much. Yeah, that's something that I've been trying to do that a little bit, and uh I think there is definitely the benefit to it. My husband he's always at work and I'm always finding stuff to do as well. So it was this past week, no, the weekend before last, we both broke out of work and I said, "Nope, we're going to go and get away for a few days." And we both talked about after when we had gotten home just how, like, stepping away for a little
Mhm.
bit and it just gives you a whole new perspective on everything. I feel like when you're stuck in the hustle and you're going, um, if you're, like, close to burnout, you're not even thinking clearly.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I think that's great, and I love that you prioritize that as well. I think that's definitely something that everybody could take a little piece of. I really like that.
Yeah. And you know what? I think stepping away from your office or your desk or wherever it is you're working actually helps you be more productive when you come back. Because if you just sit in there and you're just in it all day long, you get overwhelmed. You aren't very productive. You just kind of like wait. I shouldn't say you, I do this. You just kind of
Me
waste
too.
time, whatever. But if you will step away, especially on the weekends, and just let your brain rest, you get so much more done. The other thing that I found is if I'm stuck trying to figure something out, like there's a problem or there's something weird on a website or whatever, and I just for the life of me cannot figure it out, I will only spend an hour on it. And then I'm like, I'm done. I will go to bed,
Mhm.
I'll shut it down, I'll leave it alone. And in the next morning, usually if I leave it alone until the next day, I'll know exactly how to do it the next morning. My brain will just figure it out at night when it has a chance to shut down and relax.
Yeah.
My subconscious can just do it. So don't spend a ton of time in something. If it's frustrating you, just leave it alone and come back later. It's so helpful.
I love that because let me tell you, as an aspiring perfectionist, sometimes I get caught on stuff and I get fixated and it's like, "Oh, I can't fix this. I need to get this done by the end of the day." Um, and yeah, like we spoke to earlier, sometimes like when you just hit a point you're not productive anymore.
Right.
You're just
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
banging your head against the wall. So, I love that. I'm gonna practice that as well. Uh, so I am curious as well with N well, I wanna hear about both of, your fields that I'm referring to here. So,
Okay.
in, what you do for, websites and, design, your business there, and then with working with entrepreneurs and masterminds, how are you continuing to grow and evolve in both of those sectors?
Oh, so much. Probably more in the second one than in the first one. So with the website stuff, I it's technology. It changes. So I am constantly learning. I'm constantly taking courses. I want to stay on top of my game.
Mhm.
And it's not just like courses in technology, but courses in design and skill
Yeah,
and the latest trends and branding and stuff like that. So I make sure I stay on top of all of that stuff in my industry. And I think most people are really good about doing that. I mean, you kind of have to.
yeah,
And then with the masterminds and the wise women and stuff, it's so new to me, to be honest with you. Like it truly is. And I learn so much from the other women. The joy to me, the exciting part to me is I get to be in all the mastermind groups. I have 4 of them running and I get to be a part of all of them. And I hear all their questions and all the things. And I'm like, oh, that's a great idea. Oh, wow, that's really good. Oh, I'm going to try that. And one of the things in this business, that in the wise women business, that's a little bit different than my website business, is because I've been in business longer. I started this, I mean, I'd already been in business. I'm more confident in myself, but I'm also more confident in just trying stuff. I mean,
yeah,
the wise women started because I thought, this is a good idea. Let me try it. Let's see if anybody else will do it. Like I just try it and I learn from it, and I continue to evolve and grow. And I think, oh wow, this isn't really working how I thought this was going to work. Okay, well let me pivot and try it this way. Well, that's a little bit better. Let me try it this way. And then I also have learned to talk it out, to talk to other women, talk to other people. Don't try to do everything myself, but talk about things to other people and get their feedback and ideas and then pivot from that. So much growth. I look at
yeah,
myself just since January. It's been what, 6 months, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm a totally different person in six
yeah.
months. I just opened up to that and
Mhm.
learning from other people rather than just like courses, technology, design course. I mean, that's a little bit different. This is learning from other people and their experiences, and that makes a huge difference.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think there's definitely, um at least for me and hopefully for people that are listening to this, there's so much hope that can be gained from your story in the way that you fearlessly jumped into something and 6 months later, just 6 months later, you are super successful in it and you can attest to the level of personal growth that you've achieved. I think a lot of people when they're taking risks and when you're trying something new, there's that hesitation because you're like, "Oh, it's not going to pay off." And so there's a lot of inspiration to be found in your story, especially with wise women.
Oh yeah, and I loved it. And it's sometimes it's scary. I mean,
Mhm.
I'll admit I do stuff, I try stuff and I think I have no idea if this is going to work. Who plans a huge event in 2 months? Like who does that? Me, I do because I thought, what's the worst that can happen? Let's try it. Nobody shows up. Okay, I didn't die. That's fine. We'll try it. And I just there is power in just going for it and trying things. And what's funny? Just a little side note about when I started the masterminds. I did everything on a Google Doc. I'm a website person. I know how to design a website. I know how to make a sales page. I know how to do all those things. But I thought, if this doesn't work, I don't want to spend all the time making a
Yep.
website. I don't want to do it. So I'm just going to write down all my ideas in a Google Doc. And when people say they're interested, I'm just going to give them the Google Doc. And then I had a sign up page and we'll see. And it worked. And I was
I
like,
love it.
okay, this is great.
Mhm.
So sometimes, I mean, just put it out there and see what happens. It doesn't have to be great. And I'm the total perfectionist, but just try it.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, you threw it out there, you did what was simple and what worked for you, and you found success in it. I love that so much.
Yeah.
Um, I wanna give you one last question. Actually, no, I wanna give you one last one.
Right.
Um, what legacy do you want to leave behind through your work and through your achievements?
I really want women to know and my daughters to know that as we help each other, we all grow, we all succeed. Like, I don't know why that is so, I get emotional. It's so important to me that it really it is about coming together, and when we do that, we are so much more powerful together as a group than we ever could be by ourselves. We don't have to do things alone. We don't. Being a business owner can be lonely sometimes, but it doesn't have to be. And if we will all come together and share our knowledge with each other and help each other, we're all so much better off, and we lift and or uplift each other, and it's just so powerful. And that has become so clear to me over the last 6 months, because I spent 8 years being alone trying to do it by myself. And
Yeah.
then when I came together, I grew in 6 months what took me 8 years to grow before. Like,
Yes.
just coming together with other women has made all the difference.
Oh, I have chills. I that is it's absolutely amazing, and you're such a testament to community and, you know, just having the spirit of helping others, because when you get up in at the beginning of the day, if you have the outlook on life that you want to help others succeed and you want the best for not only yourself but others around you, I feel like your outlook on life is just brighter anyways,
Mhm.
when you're
I
not
agree.
worried about stuff like that.
I agree. Yeah.
I love that so much. You are so inspiring, April, and you have really built something that is powerful within that group and with what you're doing in the masterminds. You're giving so many entrepreneurs the space to change their business, their viewpoints. And I think it's great. I can't wait to see what the next 6 months has for wise women. Absolutely.
Thank you. And me too.
Mm.
I'm excited.
Mm. Yes, we're all ready. Perfect. April, I will put all of your links in the description. That way anybody can get a hold of you and look at your services and all the wise women stuff. And I think that's it. Do you have anything that you want to leave us with?
You know what? I do. My message, honestly, is to just look around you. My guess is there's somebody else that out there that you could help, that you could mentor, that you could answer a question for, or something. I think sometimes we get so laser focused on our own stuff and where we're at, that if we'll just step back a little bit and look around, there's somebody that we can help, even if it just means we answer a question, or we shout them out, or we give them a good review, or maybe we just the cashier, we give her an extra dollar tip or something. The lady that scoops your ice, just give her $1. Like, it's not hard. There's always
Yeah.
something little we can do if we'll just look around, and it helps everybody.
I love that. I love that so much. That was a perfect note to end on. So, thank you so much, April. I really appreciate it. And I can't wait to stay in touch.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Okay. Thanks. See ya. Guys, wasn't that the best episode ever? April is amazing. I am so honored to have been able to have her on my podcast and to pick her brain and to have her speak of her successes for us. And I hope that you guys gained as much insight from that episode as I did. I want to remind all listeners to subscribe to the podcast if you would like. The link to do that is in the description. Subscribers are going to get access to different coaching content, um, resources, workshops, fun stuff like that as well. So click the link down below if you want to subscribe. I also want to encourage you guys to leave a review, please, please. It really helps out the podcast. Whatever platform you're listening to it on, leave a review. Or if you're watching on YouTube, please engage. So, like the video, comment, or just subscribe to my channel. That would be great. And please, please share it with friends and family. If you have gained any insight from this episode or previous episodes, share it. I really am hoping that this podcast can reach all the people that are meant to hear it. So, like I said, I will leave all of April's um, websites, social links, event links, all that fun stuff in the description. There you'll find the podcast website and the guest application form as well. So if you want to be a guest on the podcast, go fill out that form. So, as always, I want to thank you guys so much for listening and for your support. And please keep striving, keep sharing, and keep succeeding. Bye, guys.